Hello, and thank you for listening to Gettin' Hard in Nate's Backyard. On this episode of the podcast, I sat down with Josh Wood. Josh is the co-host of one of the world's longest-running metal shows called Megawatt Mayhem. Check it out every Saturday night at 10 o'clock on CJSW.com. He also has his own show entitled Attention Surplus Overdrive that immediately follows Megawatt Mayhem on Sunday morning. He's made a board game. He's like the world metal trivia champion and just an all-around interesting dude. So I had him on the podcast, and it was a great time talking to him. So, as always, thank you for listening. Hello, and thank you for listening to Gettin' Hard in Nate's Backyard. I'm here tonight with Joshua Wood.
Good evening.
And Nancy.
Hello.
Cool, I'm going to do some quick commercials here before we get rolling. This podcast is brought to you by Right Hook Mics. Right Hook Microphones designs and manufactures the most badass microphones on the market, combining good looks and great performance into a quality product with the retro look of a Shure PE55. That's right, folks, a Shure PE55. You want to look like Elvis? You get one of these mics. Being musicians themselves, they make every effort to ensure their products are as affordable as possible because they believe that cool, good quality gear should be attainable for independent musicians. They have 3 different models available right now. The black one, which our guests are using, dubbed the Metal Mic. The white one with black grill cloth, the Stormtrooper. And a gold one called the 3PO. They also have a new multi-purpose condenser microphone coming out. IG88 Studio big wide diaphragm thing. Go to righthookmics.com and buy all their stuff. Buy it all. This podcast is also brought to you. Yeah, feel free, JP. You can say whatever you want. If you want to wait,
just jump in anytime.
Yeah, feel free.
Well, it's funny. I was looking at your website earlier of all the people who've had on the show, and I'm like, I can guarantee you I'm the least cool person you've had here on episode 45.
Yeah,
I mean, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel now. Like,
no way. It's just getting lit up again.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
We had a couple cancellations, so it's going to be good.
Yeah. This podcast is also brought to you by me and Nancy, Big Nate Productions. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Go to bignateproductions.com and listen to this podcast. Find out about our upcoming shows that we got going down. Stay tuned there for press releases and announcements about Calgary Metalfest. Big Nate Productions presents Calgary Metalfest June 16-17 this year. And Big Nate Productions also presents Nate Fest, my super birthday party, June 3rd and 4th. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Let's just make it the whole week.
Yeah. It turns into that.
It does.
No matter what, it's like, Wednesday's a week away. Better start drinking. You got to work your way into it. So yeah, go to CalgaryMetalFest.com too, BigNateProductions.com. In September we're doing Calgary Metal Fest. It's going to be awesome. We're pumped. And hopefully we'll have some announcements this week, next week.
Soon.
Maybe by the time you hear this, we'll have announced. So yeah, with that being said, thanks a lot. Oh yeah, check us out. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Nate's Backyard.
You should send us to NASA so it could be like the first podcast in space.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
sure there's
just
been
like
a podcast in space. Doesn't that, what was his name? The Commander Mark guy? Doesn't he have a Mark Garneau? Yeah. He's been on the Rogan for sure. But I don't know if he has his own podcast. He
plays like acoustic guitar. We need like a metal podcast in space.
Well, thanks a lot for coming down to the bus here, JP.
My pleasure.
It's really. I wanted to have you on because you're sitting there talking about how boring you are. Well, it's at least been since the 80s.
Yes,
I don't think it's boring at all. I think it's friggin' awesome. We worked together in Noctis briefly, and you've always been super rad. You're the host of Megawatt Mayhem, which we were just debating. It's one of the world's top 10 longest running metal shows.
You bet.
Which is pretty intense. And you guys have always been awesome. You and Kevin started that together?
Well, no.
Kevin, how did that all work?
Kevin he joined as a volunteer at CJSW back in 85, 86, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. And he went through a number of co-hosts, and then I came on around 1999. So I've only been doing it about 17 years, but it's the 30th anniversary of the show this year, so he's got a few more years under his belt.
Oh, that's sweet, man. And, I think I speak for the whole metal community when we say, like, thanks a lot for having us on the show, you know?
Oh,
you guys are so approachable and, you know, giving, like, terrestrial radio exposure to, in essence, nobodies.
Hey, it's an open door policy, you know? You're a band and you want to get heard and come and shoot the shit on the air. That's what we do.
No, it's great. I remember my old band, Kilyakai, we went on there, and everybody gets super nervous on the radio, I find.
I know. When you put a mic... Like, I'm nervous now, right? I talk in front of a microphone every week, and now there's a microphone. It's like, oh, shit, I gotta sound cool or something. I drop the voice down an octave. You know?
Yeah, so we were kind of power drinking while we were there. It was so funny. There's this video of us, because there were 6 of us in that band, and we're watching this video somebody took on their phone, and we all had drinks, and, like, there was one person drinking at any given time. Yeah. Like, somebody would take a drink, and then another person over here would take a drink. It was just like, it was like that
like
till they were gone.
Drinking team. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, well, nobody wanted to do it at the same time. So, and then, yeah, somebody pissed themselves in the parking lot, but whatever.
Did you get that on film?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
YouTube, here we come.
Yeah, totally, yeah. We'll do a live video of all the old stuff, old Kilyakai stuff. Yeah, so it's always been a great time going out to the university, and you know, again, thank you from everybody for having everybody on the on the
it's
show.
our pleasure. Like I said, open door policy. It's just great. It's a good station. It's a lot of fun, and it's just about supporting metal bands from around the world. We do phone interviews and local stuff. It's what we do.
Cool.
Yeah, well, thanks for having both of us on to talk about Metalfest those 2 years.
Yeah, you've always been supportive of the Big Nate Productions and the Calgary Metalfest.
Nancy is going to be joining me next week as a guest on my prog rock show, because she is, you know, basically the number one fan of my show. So there's about 4 or 5 of them, and she's certainly number one. And so
you're number one on the
down,
Nancy charts.
That's right. Yeah. So she's going to come down and tell us all about your big birthday party coming up, and the big show at Distortion on April Fool's Day, right?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up just real. Before we talk about that, it's Attention Surplus Overdrive. That's your show.
Well, how it happened is a guy by the name of Richard Z started a prog show back 13 years ago now, and he knew his shit. I mean, we're talking krautrock and Zool, and he was a master of prog. He knows, he's 10 years older, and he knew all that stuff. Die-hard guy. And he just moved on to a new career, and he just couldn't make it work all the time doing the late night show. So I said, well, I'll kind of take over and bring a bit of a new approach to it, more of the more modern prog, the Dream Theaters and all those guys, and just transitioned into my show. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of proud to continue his legacy, but, you know, when it comes to all that old stuff like Yes and Asia and Genesis and all those giants, he knew that stuff like the back of his hand, where I'm still struggling to keep up.
Yeah, his was a good show. I listened to it a lot.
Oh yeah, he is so good at that stuff.
Yeah, cool. So Nancy, like you had mentioned, Nancy's going on the old Attention Surplus Overdrive. When is it? Next Saturday? Yeah,
well, we start at midnight, so technically Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Right.
So we do the Megawatt show, which is the heavier stuff, and my new policy is like no harsh vocals basically after midnight to 3 a.m. So it's definitely more melodic, progressive guitar heroes and stuff like that. So we're gonna
the epic
play
stuff.
Some of the the epic stuff. You know, if it's songs under 10 minutes, it doesn't make the cut. You
know? Zing. Awesome.
Well, we'll play some songs of the bands that are going to be playing on April 1st.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's going to be a bit of a showcase. It'll be fun.
And we'll have a premiere world premiere of a new Caveat song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Caveat's been sneaking out some masters there of their new record.
Mm-hmm.
We listened to a tune before we started the podcast. It sounds pretty damn cool.
It does.
Yeah, so that's March 23rd. Saturday, March 23rd, 2016. Check it out, folks.
Attention Surplus Overdrive.
Attention Surplus Overdrive.
Yeah, CJSW.com, I guess, if you want to stream it or podcast it. Not that I want to advertise like an enemy station on your show, but that's where it's going to be.
This is not a station.
No.
This is a bus. But yeah, so, and you're going to be talking about, sorry to scoop this on you.
No.
Nancy's birthday party is a bunch of rad prog bands. So Caveat, Illuminated Minerva, Subsumed, Tyler Dory Trio. Oh shit. That's going to be.
Oh shit.
Not oh shit. They're done. But that's going to be a really awesome night.
Definitely.
It really is.
Definitely.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped for
Me
it.
too.
It's also a CMF fundraiser, so come one, come all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and don't give us any of that, I know someone in the band bullshit. Pay your cover at the door to support CMF.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Come support awesome Calgary prog bands.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Fucking
And
right.
Edmonton.
Yeah. Well, yes.
And Edmonton,
Yeah,
totally.
Tyler
Subsume's
Dory
from
Trio.
Edmonton, right?
No, they're from here.
Oh, are they from
Tyler
here?
Dory from Edmonton.
Tyler Dory Trio,
Tyler's
yeah.
from,
Really good stuff, man. That guy's crazy. Produced all that stuff. And
Well, I'm just
He's
really
good.
happy to have put together a prog show. I've talked about it for a while.
Yeah.
yeah,
I wanna
totally.
promote
And your birthday,
that.
too. It's just like the stars will be in alignment. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And April Fool's
Do you think
Day.
there'll be a guitar solo at the show, maybe?
Oh, if you do, I'd say.
All right. Okay.
I think about an
Not
hour
really
and a
pumped.
half of the night will be guitar solos. That's cool, though. Cool. So, you are doing some work with Junofest, is that right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, totally, man. Over the
I don't know what's going on with all that stuff. I don't think anybody else does. So,
Well, I got lucky. I bumped into a guy. I've been, doing metal industry stuff for years and years. And about 4 or 5 years ago, the Junos had decided that they were going to have a hard rock / heavy metal category again.
mm-hmm.
They had one back in the late 80s, sort of 88 to 93, and it was kind of like Slick Toxic and Lee Aaron and those Rush, would win the heavy metal album of the year or whatever, which is
Right.
cool. I mean, I love all those guys. But then there was this like 15-year drought where there's no metal award. And it was kind of embarrassing because like of all Canada, like every other country in the world has some sort of heavy metal award.
Right.
And so I wrote a letter and I said, we need this metal award. And it finally got some momentum going, and they finally said, okay, 2010, I think it was, we're going to
Really?
add a metal category to the
You
Junos,
single-handedly
yeah.
brought back the...
No, not single-handedly. No.
I'm
A good buddy of mine, Sean Palmerston, really spearheaded that out in Toronto, and we got some industry people behind it, and they said, yeah, metal is a thing still. And the suits in the ivory towers in Toronto are like, oh, really? Is that still a
really?
thing? Yeah, okay. Well, and then they started to look at their sales numbers like, oh, metal fans still buy records. Okay, yeah, we better make a metal category.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
So it's just grown from there, and now I started as a judge, and then I got onto the committee, and the committee basically, we just kind of screen stuff and make sure everyone knows by the rules, and try to get bands, say, hey, yeah, let's get bands, local bands, independent bands involved, and see who maybe can get into this program.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that's awesome. And we were talking, there was another... were you on the grant committee for all that, too? Were you overseeing any of that?
No,
or
not so much.
Because they gave
on
out
the money
whack
side of it.
grants. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm so, I do this stuff for a living, and I didn't even fucking go on the website. Like, I should have... If I would have realized, they would have actually gave me a grant.
There is money out there.
Maybe filled out some paperwork.
Totally. It's all about the paperwork. Yeah, no, there's money floating around out there from the government and stuff to support artists and Canadian music and talent and all that. It's a big push, right? So they could say,
Right.
hey, there's Factor and SoCan and all that kind of stuff ties in. There's money available if bands want to tap into it.
Yeah, definitely. No, for sure. Yeah,
So,
paperwork.
and Junos are in Calgary this year. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
Junos are in
exciting.
Calgary this year.
So yeah, we've got a little metal showcase at Dickens coming up with 3 of the 5 bands who've been nominated for the Metal Juno of 2016 are going to be playing down at Dickens, so it's going to be an awesome time as well.
Yeah,
Saturday, April 2nd.
Yeah, man, that weekend's going to be so busy.
Cancer Bats, Ken Mode,
Yeah. And,
Diamonds.
Diamonds, that's
and
right.
Kron Goblin will be
Kron
opening.
Goblin, that's right.
Yeah. So that's the night after my birthday party.
Yeah, so
And
I
then
guess
the
you all
next
know what
day,
you're
my
doing.
actual birthday, that's the Junos.
The Junos, that's
at
right.
The Saddle Dome.
Are you going?
I
You're gonna
am.
go?
I'm gonna take that in.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll go together then. I'm going too.
Cool.
Wild. So that's the actual award ceremony.
Yeah, like how it works is like it's Juno week basically. There's showcase gigs all week, all through town. There's like 15 different venues hosting bands. There's stuff at the airport. There's stuff at the National Music Center. There's a big launch on Friday night, and then Saturdays there's this big dinner, right? And they basically give away all the awards that aren't televised on Sunday. So it's like best Eskimo album, or whatever kind of they have like 50 categories, right?
Yeah.
So on the Sunday at the Saddle Dome, there's the, you get your best rock, your best pop, all your big mainstream artists, but everyone else gets their award on the Saturday night. And that includes the metal guys, right? Because,
What?
I know it.
They don't
Metal
want those
should be
guys-
televised.
They don't want those guys on the purple carpet.
No,
eh?
they don't. They don't.
Damn it.
Well, can you imagine if, like, say, Fuck the Facts won the best Juno, and some guy on CBC or CTV or whoever's like, and the winner of the best metal album is Fuck the Facts? They'd be like, beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, so that's creating jobs.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're like, okay, metal guys, so you can be on the Saturday.
I mean, actually, that band has always blown my mind that they got radio play because of that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
You'd
people
think
always-
at some point the radio monster would have walked up and been like, "You can't do that. Change your name."
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of band that would say no.
Right.
Screw you.
Oh, and good for them. Good for them. Because now the Junos are in a weird position.
Well, they are. I mean, it's. I have to be careful what I say here as being part of the organization, but there's that double side of it, right? They're really trying to support independent local artists with
They
the metal
are.
category and stuff, but at the same time, it's like you're going to have
Yeah.
Bryan Adams playing at the Saddle Dome.
Yeah.
So it's like the
Yeah.
whole spectrum of like the most generic corporate
Yeah.
rock imaginable to like,
Right.
there's some cool shit going on in the underground and the local clubs. So
Yeah, no, totally. And it seems like they're doing a good job of it because,
they're trying.
like, Cage put that show on that she got a grant for from them, which was
Yeah,
an
all-ages show
all ages
at
show
Broken City,
at
yeah.
Broken City,
And
which
Juno
is a
people
bar
were there,
usually.
they came down and were
Yeah,
they had
that's great.
the posters up and handed out shit to all the kids who were there. Like, yeah, check this out. So
Yeah.
it's all
I'm
about
actually
music.
doing some gigging at the new National Music Center
Oh, yeah?
during all of that.
nice.
Yeah, I actually won't be working at Dickens at all, unfortunately.
Oh,
I want to be, but
you're pulled in every direction.
yeah, well, sometimes it's like
Oh, yeah.
highest bidder. You know?
Yeah, you're
It's
the
hard
metal.
to walk
you're,
away from that.
You're the
you
metal
know?
mercenary, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I
You
gotta
have to
have
be.
100 different jobs, so
It's a
to
great
make
opportunity.
make it, and it's a great opportunity. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be one of the damn first people in that place, so it'll be interesting to.
There's a Friday night thing there. I think like some sort of industry party or whatever. It's gonna be so good. I'm
Yeah,
really looking
there's a bunch of
forward to it.
covert
Yeah.
stuff going on around there.
Yeah, nice, nice.
It's, wow. Apparently, that's what we're doing. All this. Oh, it's a secret show. It's a secret this. It's a secret that.
Top secret. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
secret
yeah.
if you tell everybody. But that's all
Yeah,
right.
totally. Yeah. Well, apparently they're setting up in case it happens, but might not.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But it's so good that whole weekend, just music and parties and industry and
Yeah,
the Junos bounce back and forth. Like 1 year it's Eastern Canada, 1 year it's Western Canada.
right.
So Junos was like about 10 years ago last time in Calgary. So there's some buzz, some hype, and I'm just glad that finally they've got a bit of focus on metal as well. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, definitely. Because who won last year? There was some. I would have to look it up, but there was some like the bands that won. I was like, wow, cool.
yeah, there's always been that controversy, about they're integrating punk and heavy music and hard rock. I mean, if you look at this year's nominees, they're all over the spectrum. You got death metal, you got grindcore, you got melodic hard rock. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, a little bit of everything. So
Huh. So they have that many subcategories in the metal?
Well, I mean,
or is it just under the metal?
Yeah, it's just kind of called Metal Album of the Year. So of those 5 who made it, like how it works is lots of bands submit, and then there's a bunch of judges for industry people, journalists, radio people, magazine people from across the country vote, and those 5 bands become the official nominees.
Right.
So you've got Diamonds, you know, that kind of hard rockin' band out of Toronto, and then Fuck the Facts, and just all these different styles. So
cool. Isn't Cataclysm in there?
Cataclysm, death metal from Quebec, they're in there as well.
Wow,
I mean,
good.
We're trying to get Annihilator to submit as well.
Oh,
this year.
so if you don't submit...
If you don't submit, then you're not in the game. You gotta say, I want to play, right?
Yeah, wow.
So, and there's a lot of bands, you know, I've talked to bands, they're like, no, we're not really interested. Especially the black metal bands are like, no. You know?
That'd be funny if they won, though.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that before, you know. It's like when, I don't know, can't remember exactly what it was, Gorgoroth or someone was nominated for like the Norwegian Grammy, like, no, take us off the ballot. We do not want to be a part of your corporate machinations or whatever. Say, okay, good.
Last year's winner was Devin Townsend Project.
Oh, there you go.
Right. Yeah,
there you go.
Totally
He's awesome.
Progtastic stuff from the West Coast.
Yeah.
Devin Townsend's great. Cool. So, we should say the Junos are what, the 1st through the 4th of April?
Junofest.
Well, that whole week, like you
Junofest.
say.
It's like
there's
the
shows
30th
on the
through
1st
the-
and the 2nd. You get a wristband and you get both.
Yeah, it's running
Cool.
all
But
weeks.
the heavy Juno show is on the 2nd at Dickens.
Right.
So if you want something heavy on the 1st, come to Distortion for
Definitely, yeah.
Caveat, Illuminated Minerva, Subsume,
And then
Tyler
the
Dory
2nd
Trio.
at Dickens.
Yeah.
Second Dickens.
Which is going to be awesome. I'm pumped for that show. Awesome. I think we're going to take a break and come right back. We'll see you in a minute. BigNateProductions.com. We're back.
We're back.
So I want to thank you as well for being a judge at the Vulcan Battles.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's a lot of fun. You know, there's a bit of pressure because when you know like a lot of people in a lot of different bands, it's like, you know, you got to be neutral and fair and make it work for everybody. So
For shizzle. I'm going to turn that fan off because goddamn it, it's loud. But yeah, and it's tough to. It's like I always say with the stupid Vulcan battle. Like, I just do it because I don't want it to be some corporate fucking thing. Like, I play music.
yeah,
So at least there's a guy that plays music that's doing it around, and I mix, and I, at least it's me, not just some guy who's like, oh no, because for people that don't know, like it in the East and stuff, the way it's set up is it's basically pay to play.
really.
As a band, you have to come in and buy X number of tickets, and you can sell them for X plus 50 cents.
Yikes.
And that's not, the first year when they approached me, I was like, no way. Like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, oh, well, you can run it however you want out there. And I'm like, oh, yeah?
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No problem.
Open audition.
So then it was like, nobody sells tickets, but we're going to ask everybody who they're here to see and try to get, fair judges, real. Nobody's getting paid. You tell everybody that, because that's the big mistake I think promoters have always made in this town is it's fine. Bands will play for free if they know and they agree to it. It's not
exactly.
If it's the end of the night and it's like, no, there's no money. It's like, fuck, I'm going to hit you. But that allows me, my point is that it allows me to, have some rad judges out that I think it's a good,
There's some
cross
purity, there's
section
some purity there, right? It's
Yeah.
like people, the
local.
judges were awesome last night. You got musicians, you got media people, you got fans. They're like, this is what we think is cool.
Totally.
And it's not about, well, I work for this or who runs that or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. But the only unfortunate part is that we send a winner out to the fucking sausage grinder in Toronto.
Oh yeah, but hey, overall, 2 of the last 3 years, Canadian bands, right?
Totally. Yeah, which is in Germany. They've won the Battle of the Bands.
2 of the last 3 years have been Canadian bands.
The whole they go out there and then play another Battle of the Bands. It's like Inception to me. It's like my brain can't comprehend
There's
it.
like 40 or 50 countries. They have this whole stage. I saw that Vulcan documentary, and there's this whole for all 3 days, and the judges, like, they're basically glued to their seats. We got to watch 40 bands, 50 bands from around the world, from Israel to Egypt or whatever.
Wild.
And that Mongolian band they were a front runner, and then when the Canadian band went, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Vesperia, like last year, or the
Yeah.
first year, Crimson Shadows.
No, first year, Crimson Shadows.
Okay.
Yeah. That was in the movie. They're like, Canada. People are like looking at their globe. Where the hell's Canada? All tucked away down there beneath Mexico.
Yeah. No, awesome. Thanks for doing that. So you're a writer at Metal Rules, right? Metal-rules.com, is that?
Metal-rules.com. Yeah. A lot of people don't know this. It's one of the world's biggest, longest running heavy metal webzines. And It's Canadian. Started by 3 newfies back.
Whoa, eh?
Yeah, 20 years ago. Started by 3 newfies in 95. These guys, when they're just like trying to figure out HTML and all that programming shit
Right.
that I have no idea about. And that was the doldrums, right? Like 95, like there was no true metal happening. It was like grunge and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys like, yeah, we want to start this little thing to talk about those new bands that are just coming on the scene, like Symphony X and Hammerfall and Camelot and all those brand new young bands. Whatever happened to the Iron Maidens and the Judas Priests in the middle of the 90s, right? So these guys started building this thing, and it grew and grew and grew, and I kind of came on board around 2000 as a writer and a volunteer. And now we have staff in like 15 countries around the world, and, blowing our own horn. We've interviewed everyone from Kiss and Metallica to like the kid in the garage on his first 2-track demo.
Yeah, right. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like I said, we got people in Finland and the States and Norway and Denmark and England and everywhere. It's just
Cool.
and the staff. And so over the years, I'm the managing editor now. So I just
Nice.
coordinate. So it's a lot of emails like, okay, well, who needs a photo pass to this Megadeth show in Germany or whatever, So it's hard work, but it's fun. It's totally worth it. It's totally
Cool.
worth it.
And a previous podcast guest, Monica, Monica Deviant?
Yeah,
Deviant?
yeah.
She submits photography.
Totally. She's
contributes.
my go-to photographer here in town. I mean, she's superb,
Yeah.
great attitude, and she edits a lot of my crappy work that I submit. She's definitely my invisible second hand. So she does all the great photography and tweaks all my stuff that I submit. So I mean, in the last 10 days, we did the Slayer show, we did the Megadeth show, we did the Nightwish show. Just reviews and photos.
I saw her photos and reviews online.
Yeah,
there.
she does. She's
It's been
fantastic.
a crazy week for metal in Calgary.
know.
Fuck,
Yeah.
like you say, the last 10 days, holy fuck. Like, feels like Stampede.
Sabbath,
Yeah.
Megadeth,
Like if I ever
Slayer.
did go to Stampede, I can say it's like you're just it's like, what? Black Sabbath? What?
Yeah. It's great.
That was a good time.
Metal-
Did you go to any of those shows?
I didn't go to Sabbath, but I went to all the other ones.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
just writing the reviews and putting them up on Metal Rules. So it's
That's got to be a perk of that gig. Get the
Oh,
old
yeah.
media pass to the rap
definitely.
shows.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or whatever, but I probably haven't paid for a show in a long, long time because they're like,
Right.
okay, well, you try to support the scene through either the website or through the radio show or whatever you do through the Junos. So it's like, yeah, we'd love to have you there. But sometimes, if it's a local band and they're new, it's like, yeah, I'm going to pay $10 at the door and I want to see this band, and or if I don't, I buy the demo. I'm not that guy who's like, give me free shit or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I'll actually put my money down and say, yeah, you're a new local band, and I'll buy your, crappy 3-song EP on a CDR that's written in black Sharpie on it, and you spell your own band name wrong, but I'll buy it, like I want to support you.
Yeah. Give you $1 for the track.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. So you, what else explain some more of your background.
Well,
You mentioned
Excuse me.
you had worked for Competitive Metal Archives.
Yeah. So I guess back in around 99, I lost my job. I was working in the oil and gas industry, and my wife at the time said, you've got all this useless trivia rolling around in your head. You should do something with it, right? And I started thinking, I want to get into the industry. I want to support music more than just being a fan, buying records, right? So I around 99, there's between 99 and 2001 was a big couple of years. So I joined Megawatt Mayhem. I invented that heavy metal board game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
What's it called?
Metal Mental Meltdown.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So
that's in like fucking Walmarts all across the country and shit, right?
I wish it was in Walmart
Oh,
because
it's
I
not
might
in
make some
Walmart?
money.
I thought
No.
it was.
I mean, it got into.
but I saw it in a store somewhere.
Yeah, HMV and A&B Sound, and there's some real bricks and mortar stores, I guess they call it now. But so that was a labor of love. I mean, we raised the money and we did our research and we formed like an official company, and that was my job for a couple of years. I drew a salary and I said, we're going to make this thing and market and manufacture it and distribute it, and traveled a little bit to some trade shows and stuff. And it was a hell of a good time.
Nice.
And it was the first, right? So it kind of got a little bit of notoriety.
And what year was this? 99?
99. Yeah.
You made that board game in 99?
I know. It's totally out of date. Half the bands there are like broken up. It's like, who? Never heard of that band before. Yeah, they're long gone. Back in 99, they were huge. Yeah. Huge in Japan, right?
Nice.
So it was the board game and metal rules, but there was another thing I was doing called Rock Detector. My Rock Detector was one of the first big heavy metal databases. Because if you think about it, back in 99, internet wasn't everything it is now.
Right.
Right.
Especially the
slow.
smartphones. There was no fucking smartphones.
No, there was none of that shit. It was dial-up, right? I mean, I remember, your computer screen, like you could see it like going loading down the screen as the graphics came onto your screen, right? But so Rock Detector was run by a guy named Gary Sharp Young out of New Zealand. And he was a journalist in England in the early days, and he was an artist as well. He did album covers for like some Judas Priest one, Grim Reaper, stuff like that. He was a really good painter, and he started this. He said, "There's got to be a way to use this internet, this cool new thing called the internet, to catalog metal." So he created this website called Rock Detector, and he would get people from around the world in each country. There'd be like the official representative. So, for example, in England, he had a guy named Bernard Doe who used to run Metal Forces magazine, and he was like the official English guy, and then you'd have the official American guy and the official German guy. So, through all my lies and bullshit, he believed me. So I became the official Canadian guy. Right?
I got a board game.
Yeah, I got a board game. Yeah, oh, you must know what you're talking about, right? So,
I heard. I've never played your game. I think I have one here, but I keep hearing it's really hard.
It's hard. Yeah, I had too much obscure shit. Like people like I don't know.
Rare Italian power metal. And
I know. It's like Lee Aaron's third demo. Who gives a fuck? Right? You know?
Awesome.
But
so, how long did you do the Rock Detector thing for?
Well, I did it for many years until Gary Sharp Young died, like suddenly, like just had a brain aneurysm and died one day in his home in New Zealand in the kitchen, just kaboom.
Fuck.
And it ended right there. Wow. Everything. So it was, it was a really good run. And then Metal Archives now, that, the kind of go-to site, based, also a Canadian site, run out of Montreal, and they kind of took off and went from there. So,
cool.
But it was kind of funny. We'll tell a little controversial story. It was Metal Archives used to
grab a beer then.
Yeah, I think we should. Metal Archives used to kind of basically copy what we were doing, and it was a bit frustrating because I'd add some content to Rock Detector, and then 2 days later it'd show up on Metal Archives.
Of course, it's the internet.
yeah. And so we say, you guys can't really do this, and they're like, oh no, it's free information, it's the internet, and I say, well,
shit.
So, we got the lawyer involved, and we sent them a letter saying, look, quit copying our stuff. You're doing your thing, we're doing ours. And so they backed off, but it left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth at the time.
Very interesting.
So, And
yeah,
then
there's been the internet just has fucking changed shit so much. Like, it's so weird, especially when you're talking about music and more, niche genres like metal. It's like fucking everything's so different now.
Totally. And the thing about, and I don't want to dwell on it too much, but the thing about Metal Archives is because it's run by a couple of people in Montreal, and they have very specific ideas about what is metal and what isn't. So if they don't like it, it doesn't go on the site. So I'm like, really? And we were trying to do something a little more broad, like, okay, if there's a band and people think it's metal, it should get cataloged and documented. And
right. So what does Encyclopedia Metallum have to do with all this?
Well,
is that another startup?
That's just the same name. Yeah, Encyclopedia Metallum is Metal Archives.
Is Metal Archives?
Yeah.
Okay,
so Metal Archives is their URL. But so they've got this long-standing thing, or if they don't like the band, it doesn't go on the website. I mean,
well, you know what's funny? My band just got on there like a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, so it's like,
okay,
You're real.
They don't.
I guess we didn't submit though, so that's my fault.
It's kind of funny too, because you have like Alice Cooper. Almost everyone on the planet agrees he's one of the original metal guys who started this whole thing, but no, we don't like him, so he's not on the website. Or Slipknot. No, we don't like them, they're not on the website. I'm like, oh, really, guys? Come on, grow up a little bit. Try to be a little more professional if you're going to be an encyclopedia. But it's, public submissions and all that, so they do their thing, and it's just, but hey, it's great. I mean, I go there all the time and look at shit. It's like, oh, here's this
for sure.
cool band from the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I had no idea any of that stuff ever happened, right? Like, I've just always known it as the Metal Archives thing.
Yeah, Metal Archives. And they're biggest in the world, and they're great, and they have people all over the world submitting, and every day they update it, so it's a fantastic resource. I don't even know if there's something like equivalent for the jazz scene or the country scene or the classical music scene. I think this is pretty unique.
Well, it's funny. Fucking metalheads are such weirdos when it comes to subgenres and cataloging and shit. And fucking
nerds, yeah.
Putting stuff in a box and putting it on a shelf and fucking so OCD.
I'm totally guilty of that.
We're post-grindcore, fucking new way. Fuck, I don't know.
I know, 6 hyphens. Yeah.
Like, what? Why does there have to be a classification? No, I mean, that's okay for you to be like that. You're in radio.
Yeah. That's I'm an industry guy. I'm a nerd. I want to have, I want 5 hyphens in my band. So, post, neoclassical, symphonic, Italian, power metal band from Brazil.
Yeah, from Brazil, yeah. From Caracas.
Yeah.
I was wondering, did you ever play? Do you play? No, never?
I have no musical talent or taste.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I could maybe play that wind-up ukulele thing that my little kid has, but no, I was never a musician. Just, I know what I like, and I enjoy music for what it is, but...
yeah, no, cool. Just like a super fan of music.
Yeah, and it's weird, too, because I almost don't want to know... Because it's it takes away the mystique. If I know how, I'll tell you a story. When I was living with a guy in Vancouver when I was going to university, we were talking about music, and he's a musician, right? Mm-hmm. Plays guitar and liked a lot of stuff. And he was far more intelligent and educated musically than I was. So I was saying, Twisted Sister's awesome. He's like, no, they're not. They're so lame. They're so easy to play. I'm like, no, the guitars for Twisted Sister, he's awesome. He's like, no, I could play that in 1 minute. And he picks up his guitar, goes, near, we're not going to take it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, maybe they're not so good. Burst my little bubble. It's how could Twisted Sister back in '84 not be that musically talented? Because I'm naive. They're the best ever. Yeah. So yeah, it's like I said, I almost don't want to know. When I hear an album. It's like frickin' Death Clock. They're on top of the volcano and lightning striking, making these records. I don't want to know that some guy's sitting on the bus or at Starbucks on his laptop, emailing a frickin' digital file guitar solo to some guy, in Sweden or whatever, and then they paste it together. I don't want to know that. Every band is live on the volcano with a lightning striking with chicks hanging on their legs.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah, that's how metal should be. So that's why I never became a musician. It's
hence the reason you see all this imagery and stuff. Right?
Oh, totally.
That's what people want. People want to see the show. They
The
want
fantasy.
it to be, yeah, they want it to be too loud. They want it to be fucking way out.
Yeah.
Like everything's just like way.
And that's why I love
because they go to work every day, and it's all everything. Ugh.
Yes, yes.
It's like exactly as it's supposed to be.
That's why I love the Hammer Falls and the Manowars, because it's just this fantasy escapism. You know, it's like,
Yeah, they're
maybe one day I can have big muscles and girls will hang on my
man.
leg and I can wave a sword around with long hair. You know,
Fuck, man. I should fix up the bus and fucking do like, you know how they do those paintings like with the leopard in the 80s and shit.
Totally,
But
like-
do one with like Manowar.
totally, man. Like have a guy
Put it on the
riding
side
a
of the
polar
bus.
bear in outer space fighting a wizard or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be wicked.
It's all the members. If you look, it's actually all the members of Manowar.
Yeah, I would definitely be down for that.
Awesome. Well, I got to take a leak, so we're going to take another break.
All right.
And we'll be right back. CalgaryMetalFest.com. Yeah, that's that board game you have is wild, man. That's,
we tried to get it into the Walmarts of the big distribution places in the world, and it just, it's tough. It's an uphill battle. You got to have X number of copies ready to go, and I mean we were just a small
Like
little
10,000.
print run. Yeah, exactly. We just did it independently. We did actually here in Alberta. There's 2 companies in Canada that make board games, one in Toronto, one in Edmonton, called Northern Games. So we went to the Edmonton company, and I went up there a few times and did it all.
who'd have known? Fuck.
I know, it's awesome. They do Disney games and stuff. And when I started, the guy said, "Don't do it." I'm like, "Wait a sec. You're trying to get my business, and you're telling me don't do this?" He says, "I'll tell you why." He says, "Every year we get at least 1,000 ideas submitted for board games. 1,000.
Yeah.
And he said, of those 1,000 board games, maybe 100 go into like a prototype or a pre-production phase to go to trade shows and stuff." He says, of those 100, 10 will actually get made into a game. And they do about 1 a month, off the assembly line where they manufacture and all that kind of stuff. And they take a couple months off in the summer. And he says, of those 10 games, only 1 will ever be successful and get reprinted and get to the level of a Monopoly or so the world is like littered with the corpses of broke investors and board game guys like me.
Wow.
So we kind of made it almost. We were like grabbing at the golden ring, and we just never quite made it to get those big contracts with the Walmarts of the world. Said, yeah, we want to order 100,000 copies, and then you can get your cost of manufacturing down to a few bucks a unit, and then you can start to make some money. But live and learn, right? It was awesome. It was an adventure, and I have no regrets doing it.
100,000 copies. That's $400,000.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of money.
And that's nothing compared to the Monopolies of the world. Like,
yeah, right. No, for sure.
Or the Rubik's Cube or whatever kind of game.
Did you write most of the questions yourself?
I did. Yeah. My good buddy Dave Greer in Vancouver helped edit a lot of them, double check my facts. But yeah, I wrote most of them out of my head. And there's some classic mistakes in there, like just stupid. A dozen great mistakes that people still email me. It's like, I read your game and you made a mistake. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was embarrassing. And I'm usually that guy, calling into the radio show or writing the magazine. You made a mistake. It's metal nerd stuff, right?
Yeah. Welcome to.
Well, you must be a trivia expert.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, you were mentioning during the break that you are the world trivia expert of metal of all time.
Well, a little exaggeration, but back in around 2000, Sanctuary Management, Iron Maiden's management, ran this global competition, the World Heavy Metal Trivia Championships. And the internet's just kind of starting, so it was these 500 questions, and you had to answer these questions. People from all around the world, participating or whatever. So I ended up winning. I got 499 out of 500 of the trivia questions.
499.
Yeah,
what's the one you didn't get?
Well, that pisses me off because they wouldn't tell me. I wrote to them and said, well, which one did I get wrong? It's like, it's probably some question about Cinderella or something. But so yeah, I won a stereo. They sent me the stereo.
Oh, so you didn't go, it's not like a spelling bee or something.
No,
where
no,
you
it
went
wasn't,
to
it wasn't
some,
like live or anything like that. It was just this kind of online thing. And so I get this huge box in the mail, and it's a stereo, and it was from Europe, and it wouldn't work on our power systems. So I had to go buy like some transformer adapter thing, so I could play. But it was really cool. It's like as big as this big coffee table we're in front of here. But yeah, it was.
Is it a good stereo?
Yeah, I still have it. It
Oh,
had
nice.
like the metal sanctuary metal is, because there's that whole push back then. It was like CMC, and they had.
What are you referring to?
Well, it was like a label. So Sanctuary Music had bought a bunch of these record labels, so it was called Metal Is. So they had Alice Cooper and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden in the lower years of their careers, and they're trying to rebuild it up. So this Rod Smallwood and this whole group was trying to support the industry, and they ran this big contest, and it was a lot of fun. So a little bit of bragging rights for 1 year, and I think it all fell apart after that.
Right, yeah, because it only happened 1 year.
Yeah, it only happened 1 year,
and
so
you
it's
won.
like, yeah, come take the throne.
You're the reigning champion.
Yeah, the reigning champion.
Do you know
retired defeated?
Did you talk to the person that was second?
No, I didn't actually. I'd be
Okay.
kind of curious
Yeah.
to see what it was all about. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So
So was that before or after the board game?
Well, it was all kind of tied in, right, over those 2 years. So, like I said, after I lost my job, it's like I really want to get in the industry. So we had the radio show and the trivia contest and the board game and the website, and it all just kind of tied in together, and that took off from there. So I've just been like a metal industry nerd ever since.
Oh, that's really cool, man.
Yeah. But it really comes down to just music, enjoying music. Like all that hype and trivia and industry stuff aside, it's like just I like going to my local retailer and buying a physical CD and opening it and putting it in my CD player in the car and reading the liner notes and saying this band is awesome for whatever reason,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I haven't done that in so long. It feels like forever. Not. I've done it locally.
Yeah.
Like, so I've had it from that point of view, but to go in and buy, like, I didn't go buy Death Magnetic and unwrap it.
Yeah, there's still that
Read the
tactile
liner
element.
notes.
Yeah, I mean, everything gets streamed right now,
Yeah,
and it's
streamed.
like, you pick your battles. No one can buy everything. I mean, like you said, talked about Metal Archives earlier. According to them, there's almost 5,000 metal albums coming out a year. 5,000. Like, who could listen to that? Nobody. You'd have to listen
I don't
to
think
10,
it's possible.
You'd have to listen
is
to 10 new albums a day to hear all that shit.
Yeah.
There's no way. So, I mean, you pick your little area that you like and enjoy it. And I mean, and my wife's like, you just bought another 10 freaking albums. It's like, yeah, that's a drop in the bucket,
How big is your collection, do you figure? How many vinyls you got?
Vinyl? I was never a vinyl guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Isn't that so weird? I mean, vinyl's so cool and so popular, and I'm not one of the cool popular kids. But to me, vinyl, it's like you couldn't play it in your car. You couldn't put it on your Walkman back in the day when you're going
So
for
you
a
had
jog.
cassettes back
So
in
it was.
the day?
Oh, I got about 3,000 cassettes in my collection.
Nice.
7,000 CDs and maybe another 5,000 digital things that have been
Holy
sent to
shit.
me over the years. But the cassettes are the kind of cool, rare things now where people like, yeah, you have, like old, I can't even think of a band, but, just old Crimson Glory tapes or something. It's like, yeah, I bought that when it came out. And I had no idea it would be valuable or interesting to people 30 years later.
It was funny at the Calgary final for Vulcan last night. I was setting up prom there, and they had this like little mini boom box on top of the bass amp.
An old ghetto blaster,
An
right?
old ghetto
Yeah.
blaster, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And like, I'm not supposed to mic this, am I? And they're like, no, we record our shows. And I was
on a
like,
ghetto
fuck,
blaster.
you record your shows? Right? Like, I was like, that's fucking amazing. I'm like, you could put a mixtape out,
Yeah.
every week and be the crazy,
Rom's
that's-
greatest hits live,
Yeah,
double
it's
live in
live.
Calgary.
live from on top of the bass rig.
They had a cassette for sale at their merch table.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice, yeah.
Cassettes are coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They're hard to
Wow.
pirate.
They're hard to
Yes.
pirate.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not easy to turn them digital.
That's so true. In fact, about 5 or 8 years ago when Dimmu had their new album came out, they sent me a cassette They sent out a promo cassette so people couldn't burn it and rip it to the internet. And the journalists were like, well, this is really cool, but I can't listen to it. I don't have a cassette player. How am I supposed to write a review on an advanced cassette from 2008 or whatever it was? So it's just bizarre. And now tapes are making this bizarre comeback. It's like, I love it, You see these kids breaking out like Gatecrash or whatever, and they're making those old 80s style tapes with the logos that look...
Well, I've even noticed with all this, like there's these places coming out like Canada Boy Vinyl there, and they have a whole analog studio. Like it's all going back to the old analog stuff because stuff is being put on tape and vinyl.
Yeah.
They want to keep it pure all the way through, and I understand
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, why not give the consumers a choice? You can buy the tape, you can buy the vinyl, you can buy the CD, or all three, whatever. And I see a lot of bands doing that. You can buy the digital download and the vinyl. So you get this wicked vinyl gatefold, and then you get your little tag in there. You can go download the record, slap it on your iPod or stream it or whatever.
I always thought that they went the wrong way with digital music. Like it all went like with the internet. It was like, oh, we have to come up with some kind of compression that knocks it down so we can transfer it over the internet. Which is like, I get it, but I've always wanted to see if you could go the other way. And like
that warmth.
Record, well, because you can record at super high sampling rates.
Yeah.
Like, 4 times what a CD is. So in theory, you could have, like, if people didn't mind trading these huge songs, like you could have this massive song that's tracked and mixed and mastered at a super high sampling rate.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that, but it's super expensive.
And it's...
and in theory, you could slap that on a vinyl and you wouldn't even know. Like,
Yeah.
in theory.
That's true.
But,
That's true.
But,
and it's amazing the capacity of the human ear. Like, I wasn't a believer until about 5-6 years ago. I have a buddy who's an audiophile guy, right? And he's a big Queen fan.
oh, yeah.
So I went to his place one day and we're sitting around having beers. He's like, okay, I'm going to play the Queen vinyl. And he played some Queen. And then he played the Queen CD. And then he played the Queen Super Audio Gold Mastered Surround Sound 5.1 Dolby Digital, whatever the hell it was. And I could tell the difference. And it's like, I can actually hear it. And everyone has their preferences, but it's like, I hear shit in the background of Bohemian Rhapsody that I never heard before in my life. Like just bombing around the whole room. Just acoustically.
Well, and that Queen record, like those Queen records were like fucking, absolute masterpieces in the studio. They're doing like 80 tracks of vocals and all this, like
that's right.
The wall of sound, like recording the distorted guitar and then recording it unplugged and then recording it, down in the parking garage, and then just like building up all these crazy layers.
Totally. And I never really thought it was a big thing. I mean, I'm just happy listening to my crappy little headphones on my iPod, right? But then there's so much dynamic range that we can appreciate if you're a real audiophile. So sometimes I almost regret missing out on the not embracing vinyl more or whatever. But it's, I mean, when I'm just driving to work and I got 15 minutes and I'm busting out my whatever new band on CD, it's like, it's good enough.
Have you heard, speaking of, so you wouldn't consider yourself like an audiophile then?
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, some of those guys buy, like the diamond needles and the gold leaf, whatever.
Well, I was just going to bring up, have you
like,
seen these Sennheiser Orpheus headphones?
Oh, yeah, the ones that like give you a oral blowjob while you're listening to the album.
They're $50,000 for this system.
Just unbelievable.
So it's the base is all made out of marble. You turn the on button, the knobs come out of the marble.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it.
And then now the tubes come up out of the marble.
I'm getting hard in Nate's backyard. Just watching this thing kind of like, and then it's got a little surge of power here.
The little box flips up holding the headphones, and these headphones apparently have marble in them.
Wow.
Like as
acoustically perfect
marble.
From mined from the ancient Italy or whatever.
Exactly what they do. Because it's $50,000 headphones.
Course.
I mean, like, you gotta really, and I guess Sennheiser did this, here's a picture of it. This is the old version of this. the Sennheiser Orpheus, which is I think this is called the Orpheus 2 now or something. Or yeah, HE1060 is a new one, and that old one has a different model. But it's all tube preamp and all this stuff. And
We should get some of those.
yeah, hey, you should hit up the studio. You know, the university, be like, hey, you know, we really need
All right,
these.
we're going to start a crowdfunding.
yeah, for one pair of headphones. And
need
if
everyone-
I had that thing, I'd be like, oh man, I gotta make some kind of bubble that goes over this thing, so that, you know, out of shatterproof glass that fucking you can shoot at. And
I wouldn't even leave my room. You know, just put these headphones on, listen to Manowar all day.
The shitty thing about looking up headphones is like all you can get is the reactions of people. You know, like that's the thing with the audiophile stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's amazing, and you're like, what? Yeah, like it'd be interesting to listen to a pair of those. So Sennheiser, send me some of those over for the weekend, and I'll let you know my review here.
Yeah, and do the audio testing. We'll put it through its paces.
Yeah, totally. We'll put it up at the university for a weekend.
Yeah.
We'll do a podcast with them. I won't smoke in the bus.
Yeah, smoke might taint the headphones or something. Yeah, that audiophile stuff's awesome, and I admire and appreciate people who have that ability to interpret sound so well. For me, it's just like, you know, everything on 11, Motorhead style, and it's good enough for me. But
No, again, like you say, you like to listen to music, so.
yeah, exactly. Well, how about you, Nancy? I mean, as a prog fan, I bet you get into some of those subtle nuances of some of those fantastic epics,
for sure.
right? Yeah,
You know,
with the headphones. Have you got the Dr. Dre kind of funky
No, I
headphone?
don't have
No.
any crazy
Okay,
headphones.
good.
But I
gonna say hope
prefer
not, but-
a CD to digital files.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
and do you
MP3s.
prefer vinyl to a CD?
Oh, I can. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
it does sound better.
Yeah,
Oh, for
there's
sure.
that
Sounds
sure.
that's
real.
warmth and that all
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, when you were talking about Canada Boy Vinyl having analog equipment, Electric Revival just did their album completely analog.
Nice.
Yeah, all that, all the way through, even through the mastering,
So
all on tape.
that's a true, like, old school vinyl.
Yeah, and there's nothing
It's-
wrong. Why can't you have both?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Give
sure.
the-
I mean,
give
I've
the
heard even
consumers the option,
the
right?
new Black Rat's done like that too, and a bunch of. There's a few of them coming out of there that have been all done that way. I still have yet to go out there. I want to.
I think some of that magic might be lost in the modern age where you hear these old stories. I mean, I'm dating myself now, but you talk about these old stories where, like you were saying earlier, you know, whoever, Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin would like put the drums in the bathroom of some old hotel to get this
Right.
sound, right?
Yeah.
And now it's just like, well, you push the button on
In your basement.
in your Sonodu or
Yeah.
on your
Right.
iTunes or whatever program you're using, Cubase, and then all of a sudden it's like you can replicate that, and it's different where you're trying to create sound when the technology didn't exist, and now it's like, well, yeah, it's the computer can create those 10,000 guitar tones. By
Well, it's
pushing a
very
button.
interesting, like the whole recording thing, because you're hearing these recordings now that are so fucking perfect. It's like you're like, well, I'm looking at a mannequin. Like,
Yeah.
it's a person and it's perfect. But
But-
it's like creeping me out how perfect it is,
Yeah, I
right?
know,
Like,
I
and I
know.
think that's why there is this whole influx of, you know, it coming back to people liking it dirtier and warmer, and you know, because
especially in metal.
Yeah,
you
like-
want that crunch, you want that dirt, you know.
yeah, totally. And but I mean, I at the same time, I'll admit all day, I love listening to cheesy American hardcore that is just produced through the tits, like fucking Emir and
compressed,
Attila,
yeah.
and fucking. I'll listen to that shit all day because I'm kind of looking for that with them. I want I want it to be
You're bleeding.
unreal
Break
because it kind of is unreal.
I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was reading. Okay, a little sidebar here. Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Okay.
There's this Vinnie Vincent was the old guitarist for Kiss, and his drummer just put this blog up about how back in the day they just discovered in around 86 electronic drums and how they would just like splice every single snare hit. And he was in the studio for months, like redo that one snare hit on that third song on the second chorus, and it was like he said it's just like ripping his hair out to try to make this perfect digital representation of something. He said, I probably could have just busted out the song analog, in 10 minutes with a couple of takes.
Yeah, well, they were. So you were saying they were doing that back in the day with tape, right? Is that what you're saying?
So it would be digital drums onto tape, and then they'd manipulate it, and it's like, how painful would that be?
Yeah. See, I think that's the only reason that this shit got invented is because guys started doing in the '80s. They started getting fucking wild like that, where
drum machines, and guitar
and they're
synths,
doing
and
like
all
I
that
have
shit.
what's called Drumagog. There's Slate Trigger and all these other programs now that bloop 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 kick drum. Fucking, you put this thing, I go tack tack tack.
Yeah.
And these guys are doing that with fucking tape.
Yeah.
Like literally lining it up and taping it down onto a piece of tape.
And now what they do is they actually record it. They'll hire someone, say, okay, hit the snare, and then they record it digitally, perfectly, and it becomes a sample. And then all right, now let's tune it differently. Hit the snare, record it digitally, and then you have these thousands of sounds.
Yeah.
But back then, it just wasn't. Technology wasn't there.
You had to do it. You had to do it physically, right there. You had to make your own on the spot. A guy that I got my start in the business with, Marco Levesque, he's an old school crotchety dickhead sound guy from Quebec, and he told me he used to do that. He used to sit there, because he used to work out in Morin Heights. Mm-hmm. That big fucking studio that apparently now is just
like
derelict.
Rush or something used to Morin Heights. Yeah. It's like a dump now.
But Michael Jackson and fucking like all this like all this crazy shit out there. At one time, Shania Twain, like it was fucking at one time it was huge. Yeah, apparently now it's like there's like fucking plants growing in the main room and all. I was like, what the fuck?
How does that happen?
Yeah, how does that happen? I mean, you're so extravagant, you go to so poor, but he was saying that was his job there, was sitting there fucking every snare hit.
Oh, man.
Like splicing all that shit all fucking day. I mean, that's why. So Pro Tools comes out and it's like, oh, you just go Control C, Control V, bang, 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 bang. Oh, well, hey, fuck. Look, it sounds amazing, and we just fucking made $20,000.
Yeah.
So there was that
And the
disparity
album took
where
half
they're
the
taking the
time.
money off the table. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, hence why everybody gets frustrated, hence why everybody starts stealing stuff, hence why everybody, you know what I mean? Like, I remember when Napster came out and all that, and it was like, fuck. The only reason I got into Napster, and this is the only time I've ever really stolen music, was because I could get shit on there that you could not even order.
Yeah.
Like, you could get bootlegs. You could get all kinds of wild shit off there that you'd never heard. This band Live in Tokyo and no.
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff like that just made it go 3D. And it's shitty that all that stuff got mismanaged and not, it didn't get embraced. And like, I think the music business really could have embraced it and like brought it in,
Yes.
It's like you keep your friends close and your enemies even closer, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of thing where they could have just swallowed it all in and then kind of lightly controlled it instead of just being like lawsuit, fuck you, line in the sand.
Yeah, I
like,
totally
it should
agree
have been
with you.
embraced,
Yeah,
so that it
I
could all
totally
work
agree.
together.
They missed the record industry in North America, missed that opportunity, and I totally agree. And I'll give you a personal example. I've been around for a little while. So when I started doing radio in Calgary, they had 5 or 6 of the major record companies, Atlantic, Universal, Columbia, Sony, all had offices in Calgary. Mm-hmm. And every...
What year?
I don't know. This is maybe early 2000s.
Really?
So I would go each
because
week.
Universal still does, don't they?
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
I'll tell you about that. But
One guy.
there's one guy from Universal.
One guy,
right?
yeah.
But I
Awesome.
would go on Friday
Lucky guy.
after work, and I'd go around. I'd go to Atlantic, and I'd go to Epic and Columbia and Sony, and they'd have an office, and they'd have a manager and a secretary, and they'd give me a box of CDs and say, go promote this new band, and they'd give me posters and tickets and shirts and go support our band. Great, thank you very much, I'd love to. And then a few years later, it's like, well, okay, now we're going to give you a couple CDs. It's going to be one for the radio show and one for you maybe and one for a giveaway. And then it started to shrink down. And so over time, all these people
Smoking fan.
lost their jobs.
Right.
Yeah. So now, of the big 5 or 6, there's only Universal in town, and one guy works out of his house in Langdon or wherever it is.
Okay, that's what it is now.
And it's hard to promote a band before they would make the effort. And that's where what people don't see about the promotion side of the music is like, as a radio guy, and I get 10 copies of a CD and I can give them out as contests and tickets to the show and a t-shirt and try to generate hype and interest. And now it's like, no, it's all sunk down to like, well, here, click on this link and we'll let you listen to a stream of the album. So it's harder
so you can't
to promote.
It.
You can't consume it. It's harder to promote and get excited about a band. I mean, I remember record company guys used to take us out to dinner and say, this band is the greatest thing since sliced bread. We love them. Try to support them and promote them.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Fuck!
But it's a double-edged sword, because then you get into these guys who are into the payola. Oh, yeah, well, if we take
That's
you
not payola?
Well, yeah, of course it is, right? if we take you to dinner and give you 10 free copies and give you tickets to the show and you get to meet the band backstage and you get the shirt and all that, of course that's payola. People get kind of influenced or corrupted by it, and it's hard to avoid that. So you have to find that real balance. And now it's swung so far the other way that bands don't, almost in a sense, don't have a chance, where they don't have that machine, that industry to say, yeah, we like you, we support you, we're going to give you 10 grand, we're going to make posters for you, we're going to print tickets for you, we're going to make t-shirts for you, we're going to give away your records or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely. The support, like the back end support, the investment.
It's gone.
Yeah. But see, you know what's funny about that though? Think about that. When that was some kind of weird golden years glory days shit.
It was.
That we'll probably never fucking see again.
Agreed.
And I think it started with Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
Because Elvis never wrote a fucking song, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that was like the beginning of the machine.
Yeah.
Where it was like, and I bet you even, like, again, total conjecture, but I bet you that's the beginning of the 360 deal too, because like he's going out and performing. There's no way that his manager, well, I guess, is the manager part of the label? Probably at that time.
Oh, there was a lot of cross-pollination or whatever you want to call it. It's like where the guy has the double interest. He's like the manager and working for the record company.
Right, yeah.
And the lawyer.
Doubled, and the lawyer. Yeah, totally, and the lawyer. Actually, here's a fucked up story. You know that band Crowbar from Canada?
The old Crowbar.
The old Crowbar.
Before the New Orleans Crowbar. Yeah.
So I knew him, like Kelly J lives here in town. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I saw that online. Yeah.
And fucking
he's got a van like this.
Okay, he's got a huge bus.
Yeah.
Well, there was some bullshit with the cities all pissy with his buses.
They're trying to get pissy because he's got some shit in his backyard.
You know, what the fuck? Like, let the man do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But, quick funny story, like, he used to hang out at the Slaughterhouse a lot, Slaughterhouse Studios, and I worked there forever. And fucking, he told me how Crowbar broke up.
Oh, really?
He goes, I was fishing off the coast of Florida for marlin. We were rich.
Sounds pretty awesome.
He's like, we were fucking rolling around in limos. They were throwing parties for us. It was fucking nuts. It was crazy. It was everything you could want on their first album, with their big hit.
Yeah.
And they were setting up to go into the U.S.
Yeah.
And Pierre Elliott Trudeau signed their fucking paperwork for them to go to the U.S.
Really?
And right at the exact same time, Nixon started the DEA.
Oh boy!
And he started a law in the States that if there was any reference to drugs, that it couldn't be played on the radio.
Oh,
like this. So that happened, and then the label calls him in and goes, like, they had this second album they did at Sony Studios in New York, and fucking John Lennon's on the record.
You're kidding?
I swear to fucking, like, there's, because it's at such an epic studio. Like, he's living down the road, like, doing his, anyways.
Bring him in, guest slot.
Yeah, and he's like, I fucking love you guys. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. Like, fucking, oh, why not? I'm here anyways. Like, fuck. So they had this whole art concept where they were at the PNE in Toronto in the winter in, like, their shorts and stuff, and that was going to be the cover of the record.
You're thinking CNE.
CNE, is that what it's called there?
Sorry, I bust you there, yeah. Because
No, fair enough.
I mean the PNE and the CNE. Yeah.
Right, yeah, the PNE is the
Yeah,
BC one. Yeah,
That's
see, I'm
right,
a
anyways.
BC boy. So then they get to this meeting. They were all called in from around the country on, the whole band, all 6 of them. And they go, the label guys are like, we think this record is so revolutionary and so ahead of its time that we just want to call it by its catalog numbers. and they bust out this fucking vinyl that is all like maroon.
Is it like 100592X?
It's all the cover's maroon,
Yeah.
and then down the side about 3 or 4 inches, KE3274.
Wow.
And the
I'm impressed that you have that memorized.
Well, I can't. That might not be.
Maybe
the
you
exact
might be the new trivia champion of the world here. I mean, if you can remember the catalog number of a Crowbar album from the 70s. That's impressive.
Well, that was the
Yeah,
legitimate name
totally.
of their record.
Yeah.
And he goes, we all looked at each other and went, fuck this. And fucking all the band broke up right there. And he goes, the only guy that got any money was the guy, he got a $750 check for coming up with the art idea. And he was the fucking lawyer.
Oh, my God.
That's what made me think of that story. Is you say double dipping with the
Double dipping,
lawyer.
totally.
That's exactly what fucking the lawyer came up with. This fucking art convinced the label and destroyed the fucking band.
Unbelievable.
Like I mean, obviously, like I said, I explained there was these they were gonna do this run in the U.S. and it's after that happened, it fucking just took everything out of their sales.
Unbelievable.
So Kelly J still to this fucking day, I bet you.
He's bitter.
Dude, well, no, he gets a bill from Sony Studios. He
bill?
still owes money.
It's like your student loan.
To Sony,
like
yes.
You're 40 years old.
And
You
the guy-
got to pay
he's 70.
$65 a month.
He's 70 fucking years old, man. And he's not allowed. There you go. KE32746.
There it is. See, you knew it. You
Look at
nailed
that.
it, man.
What
That's
the
is
fuck?
pretty impressive.
I mean, if that happened to my band, I would do the same thing. If it was like, oh, we just made shit tons of money. You guys spent it all, of course, on all these parties. Those parties, you were paying for them. That's
right.
another thing he said, too, is like, oh, it turns out those parties, you're paying for them.
Yeah.
You know.
Unrecoupable advance.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, just take it off the advance money. Fuck. So, yeah, that's pretty messed up. And, like, Kelly J has had some terrible luck. Like, after that, his daughter got abducted in Japan.
Holy shit.
And fucking he spent, like,
He's
all
got to
the...
write a book, man.
Oh, no shit, eh? How
I'd
come
buy
that guy hasn't?
Yeah, I'd totally buy
Like,
that.
and he spent all his money trying to find her, and fuck, he's had the worst luck, that guy, man. He was on Hoarders. He was on the show Hoarders. His fucking kids took him on it. I haven't
Nice.
seen that either, but to me, that's not fair to do that to a guy like that. If that guy's a hoarder, you're lucky.
Yeah.
That guy's lucky to be here. You know what I mean? Like,
and they call it hoarding like it's some bad thing. He's got like mountains of rock memorabilia in
It
it.
should
Exactly.
be at the National Music
I
Center.
would-
but dude, that's why you can't throw it away.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
totally.
that bus. Those buses are full of fucking rock memorabilia.
When I'm an old man, my kids are going to put me on Hoarders. It's like, who cares about these fucking Bon Jovi tapes from 1987 right
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Be like, they're so
There's stacks of-
valuable.
See, Dad, you're a hoarder because there's just a small trail through all your junk, and that's why.
That's right. It's like, don't lean on that.
Oh, there's the cat. Fuck.
Crazy. Yeah,
But-
that guy's got to do a record.
Yeah, man,
a book,
let's
I mean,
do
he's
it.
gotta write a book.
JP, let's fucking get a hold of Kelly
Yeah,
J and
we
write a
should,
book
we
for him.
should.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and that'll be the title of his book, KE3.
No,
Totally.
it'll be whatever they wanted to call it originally.
Originally.
Yeah, whatever the fucking rad thing would have been. He actually showed me a picture, I think, somehow, too. They had the whole, everything
Worked
fucking
out.
figured out, man. And then it was just like, oh, you gotta come in for this meeting. It's an emergency meeting. Fuck, hilarious. So, it's that kind of bullshit. Like, and the reason I brought that up and went on that huge rant and offshoot story was because we were saying about this golden era.
Yeah.
You know, when they controlled everything. I mean, back then they really were. They would find a rad band, but maybe they knew they wouldn't work out, and they'd sign them and shelf them.
Yeah.
You know, like shit like that would happen back then because they didn't want to flood the market with a bunch of stuff. Like, all these guys are probably sitting around now going, look, the market's flooded with a bunch of shit. And that's what we were. We were the fucking in-between that figured out all the shit. Well, I mean...
And there's a lot of guys out there who are very intelligent marketing investor type guys. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but Chase Manhattan Bank in the States owns a lot of the intellectual property rights of record companies.
Whoa!
So back in the 90s, you had all these indie labels, Mayhem, Fierce, Futurist, CMC, who all went under. And someone bought the rights to that music. And so what they do is, like, we have this catalog, so that's why you're starting to see Ozzy and Deep Purple show up in commercials for your freaking SUV commercial, or Judas Priest on, like, you know, for a toothbrush or whatever it is.
I've noticed
that. It's starting to happen. You've seen these classic rock metal songs that we grew up on in the 70s and 80s, and all of a sudden, because some company owns the rights to this song, and they say, well, how can we make it profit? Well, some young ad guy or an older ad guy in a company says, yeah, we've got this commercial for this new cool SUV or this Dorito chip or whatever. I mean, think about that. What was it? Carl's Jr.
Carl's Jr. did the Pantera thing.
Death Angel or Pantera, that riff.
Yeah.
So some guy in some record companies...
Is it both?
I think it was Death Angel. The Angry Burger.
Oh.
It's that opening ref from Kill As One or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, I think both those things happened.
Yeah, so
there was a Pantera one too.
Some guy is selling the rights to this music to this fast food chain to say, these guys who are going to go buy a burger might remember this song. And this band is like, man, I'm eating craft dinner. I wrote that song and I'm getting nothing in terms of royalties for this thing I created. It's horrible.
Pantera should sell Walk to the KKK. Do it, Phil. Do it. Fuck, just get it over with, man.
Yeah. But it's crazy, those intellectual property rights, and those guys are smart.
But seriously, Chase Manhattan owns a bunch of this stuff?
Yeah, Chase Manhattan Bank
That's
is the
fucked
backer
up.
who bought a lot of this back catalog, and you start to see it kind of trickle out in pop culture. And that's why I kind of have this respect for Lars from Metallica. He says, we're never going to sell our rights to our music because I don't want to see Metallica in a fucking toothbrush commercial, Master of Puppets toothbrushes 30 years down the road. So even though he's a bit of a dick in that way, suing Napster and all that, he's like, I want to control my music so it doesn't go. Now, having said that, did you guys see that Metallica commercial for the shoes last year?
No.
What?
Yeah, it was Ride the Lightning. Some new shoe commercial came out, and some guy's jumping around, and his shoes are exploding with lightning or whatever. And it's like a Metallica shoe commercial. I'm like, Lars, what did you do? Are you running out of money? Because, well, because that...
If I'm going to sell out, I want me to be selling out.
Yeah, punch it up, Nancy. So it was like that Metallica Fest thing failed, right? They did that whole Orion Fest, and they lost a shitload of money. Metallica's bleeding money. So maybe they're selling their rights to their songs now, and some Nike or whatever, it was like the Nike Explode Lightning Electric 2, and they've got the Metallica song in the background. I'm like, oh, fuck, I was shaking my head in shame.
Yeah. No, that's wild. That's why they say the music business.
The music business.
The business is bigger than the word music. Yeah. It's kind of how it works too.
Yeah, crazy.
That's why. Yeah, I mean, I've always bitched about it, but at least I'm doing something about it. I get involved with it and try and make it honest.
Supporting, promoting, playing locally.
Yeah, do sound.
You do everything.
Because it's like, I started doing sound. Why? It was partly out of necessity, but it was because those sound guys, I would watch them fuck over the first band terribly on purpose. Was it on purpose? I don't know.
I've never understood that. Or bands, they're nervous. Like, you can't have as much lights, or you can't have as good sound.
Yeah,
our guy's gonna mess with your levels or whatever.
I don't get that. So I've always tried to just mix everybody fair. Well, as good as I can. I mean, sometimes the first bands all have such shitty, terrible gear that they sound like shit, and there's nothing you can do about it. Their drums aren't tuned. They're playing like pussies and you can't do anything about that lots of the time. But I always try to mix everybody fair, you know, and it goes for all the stuff I do. Like that's like I was saying, that's the reason I do the Vulcan Battle. And
You know, I'm still in this Metallica lightning shoe thing. Can you punch that up? I want to figure this out. I want to get my facts straight. But yeah, I mean, that's what it comes back to is music, the appreciation, the love of music.
But how
it
do
all
we
starts in a garage. 4 friends, like, we're gonna bang on our instruments, we're gonna learn how to play this shit, and we're gonna rock out.
And I guess the future
starts there
I guess the future is bright because there are bands that are still doing it
every day.
Yeah, like
Every day.
they're out there and they're fucking touring and they're doing it. But I mean, there just isn't that dickhead.
They're getting into a stinky van and driving to frickin' Regina or Swift Current.
Right, they're not all flying in a jet to wherever, playing sold out Madison Square Garden, throwing fucking TVs off the roof. Like they're not doing in some $5,000 a night hotel. They're not doing that.
No.
So should that come back? I'd like to see that. I was joking.
You know what?
Sign me up.
It's like everything. You got to earn it. If you work hard and start, you're a kid in the garage.
Yeah. If you pull off a Led Zeppelin and you're that big.
And then you get good, you deserve to be compensated for your hard work and making music that people are interested in and want to see and enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, hardcore capitalism. Yeah. If you make something good, people want to pay for it and enjoy it. Great. But at the same time, it can't just be all the business where they're trying to prop up something with no core, no talent, no roots.
Right.
Yeah.
See, they used to be really good at finding the talent. It's like they can't find it anymore, it seems like.
Well, I think they're also good at finding bands that fit the formula.
Right.
You know, especially through the late 80s, early 90s. It's like, okay, well, let's see. We've got a Motley Crue that were, pretty innovative and did their thing. And now we've got another 10 Motley Crues that are not really all that talented, but they fit the formula. And we're going to throw money at them and put them on the stage and do a video and, get the stylist. I mean, I've read a lot of these rock books where they say it's just outrageous the amounts of money. What was it, Skid Row or Rat, one of the books that those guys wrote? They're like, yeah, I spent $10,000 to fly in my hairstylist to London for a video shoot or something. Are you mental? You can feed a lot of poor people for $10,000.
Yeah, like Bono bought a first class ticket for his hat. He forgot his hat.
That story.
Yeah, he forgot his hat. It was like 6,000 euros to fucking put his hat in a fucking first class airplane. Like first class fucking on an airplane.
Wow.
For his hat.
Concorde. Yeah, first class seat. Yeah.
Oh, and you in Africa, what?
Yeah,
Africa
who?
yeah, totally.
What was that Family Guy episode?
Just
like,
take
Bono,
that fuel.
Who's Bono?
yeah. Take that jet fuel and just dump it over their country and light it on fire. That'd be weird.
Unbelievable. So what did you find with the Metallica shoe?
Some shoes.
There you go. The Vans. You got the Iron Maiden Vans, Converse.
Do we have a video? No.
Yeah, there's this whole commercial. The guy jumping around. Yeah, and he's jumping on, and it's like they got the Ride the Lightning riff in his,
What company is it? What company makes the shoes? So I can get sued by their lawyer.
Converse.
There you go. So Converse bought Metallica.
Well,
Allegedly. No.
You know what I miss is the late 80s where thrash bands all had high tops, white high tops. And I've read some of these books, where the guy said, yeah, we'd go into their boardroom and they'd give us all brand new shoes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Taylor's.
Totally.
Fucking right.
Beautiful shoes. Let's wear these in your video. We're paying $10,000 for video. $50,000. You're going to wear these shoes. Like, all right, no problem.
Fuck, yeah. Yeah.
There we go. That's the one. BMW commercial. Oh, it's getting worse. BMWs and high tops.
Ooh, Bavarian Motor Works.
Well, if you got to hit that accelerator, you need the right shoe.
Yeah. Rubber on rubber.
Metal on metal. And speaking of metal on metal, I saw the new Anvil album at Walmart today.
When did that come out?
A couple days ago. It's
really?
Good to see Walmart.
Supporting
it's
Anvil.
Like Anthrax and Anvil in the new release section of Walmart. It's like maybe they're not so bad after all.
Wow, Cool.
Yeah,
people still buy CDs.
Yeah, there's the faint echoes of the music business too, right? It's like somebody cut that deal to get them in there, so that's good. At least in the A section.
Yeah, A.
We'll have metal in A, C, and L.
That's right.
Fucking A. Well, I don't know. I think we'll wrap her up
Yeah,
here.
I think so. We've covered everything, conspiracies of the industry.
Yeah. No, it was a good discussion.
Definitely. Thank you for having me so much. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Ranting on my theories of where the industry's going and has gone and what it should be or shouldn't have been.
Yeah, no, that's the same here. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
thanks for helping out judging the Vulcan Battles.
Oh, my pleasure. It's just to get a chance to go to see local gigs and enjoy local bands. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I look forward to coming on your show.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so let's plug that stuff
Yeah,
again.
let's do it
So check out Attention Surplus Overdrive.
Attention Surplus Overdrive, which will be starting at midnight Mountain Standard Time on CJSW 90.9 FM in the Calgary, Alberta area, or online www.cjsw.com, or even on TELUS TV network if you're in Western Canada, channel 7065.
Oh, shit.
And
There you
podcasts. So if you don't want to stay up, you're partying Sunday night, no one wants to listen to radio. Tuesday morning, you're stuck in traffic at the snowstorm. You can podcast it and hear Nancy and me talking about all the best of prog has to offer.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's right after Megawatt Mayhem, right?
Right after Megawatt Mayhem.
Cool, yeah. Which is also Saturday night. Starts at 10, right?
10, yeah. So basically 10 to 3. It's
Yeah.
good. The best 5 hours of my week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My wife's
and
not listening, but-
also go to yeah, no doubt. I always say that.
Yeah.
No, nobody's still listening. Go to Nancy's Progtastic birthday party and CMF fundraiser on April 1st, 2016, featuring Caveat, Tyler Dory Trio, Illuminated Minerva, and Subsume at Distortion
That's
live
gonna be a
music
party
venue.
that night.
3828
Yeah.
McLeod Trail South.
This is not a joke. This is not an
No.
April
This
Fool's
is
joke.
Don't be a
This is
fool
like
and miss
don't be a
this show.
fool.
Yeah.
Pity the fool who misses Nancy's prog birthday party.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It'll be a prog-tastic evening, that's for sure. So with that being said, thanks for getting hard in Nate's backyard.
Got the little tingle.
And thank you all for listening. Fuck, if it wasn't for you guys, I'd just be talking to space. So thanks a lot for listening, and thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Have a good night. Cheers, everybody.
Get the fuck off of the floor!